Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here. And in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Thursday, January the 20th. Now, once again, we do have a pretty short slate today, just a little 3-game slate. We had a really small slate Tuesday, a 2-gamer. We had a massive slate Wednesday. We had 13 games on Wednesday, and now we got another short slate today. So 3-game slate. As always, guys, we're going to go through these 3 games, kind of talk about what stands out to me, taking a first look at this slate on Wednesday night, talking through each game, what I do like from each game and from each team. But before we get started with the breakdown, as always, please do hit the like button down below, guys. I do always appreciate the likes. If you're new to the channel here, make sure you click that subscribe button as well. And if you have not yet, go check out the sponsor of the video, PrizePicks. Go sign up for PrizePicks. Use code NOAH when you do, and PrizePicks will match your first deposit. They will give you a free bet up to $100 when you do sign up with my code. You can take a look at what PrizePicks has to offer. You can make some picks for tonight's NBA games. PrizePicks is more of a player prop based DFS site, so it is very simple. You're just picking the over or the under on players' projections, whether you have a lean, one way or the other. You go over or under. You have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 5 picks, and you can win up to 10 extra money on PrizePicks. They offer a lot of sports. You can mix and match sports over there, so go check them out. Sign up. Use code NOAH when you do, so that way you do get that deposit bonus. And if you guys do want some of my favorite picks each day on PrizePicks, along with the entries that I am playing myself, I give those all out on Patreon. You can check out the Patreon. It's linked down below in the description. Get access to all my PrizePicks plays, along with all of my updated DFS content. So, updated core plays, my favorite plays at each position, my rankings, getting our Discord chat too. That's another benefit of being a Patreon member. There's a lot of additional stuff I provide on Patreon. If you are interested in that, you can check it out. It's linked down below in the description. But yeah, guys, let's go through these 3 games. We'll start off with the first game of the night, Phoenix and Dallas. So definitely want to mention that there are a few teams on a back-to-back today. So Dallas did play on Wednesday. They're on a back-to-back. The Pacers did play on Wednesday. They are on a back-to-back as well. So we're definitely going to have to pay attention to the injury report. Anytime teams are on back-to-backs, there's always a chance for guys getting ruled out. I will, when we talk about the Pacers later in the video, they're a team that I think we could see some guys out today. Malcolm Brogdon, he's been coming back from injury. On a back-to-back, do they play Malcolm Brogdon today? I don't know. Domantas Sabonis, I wasn't watching Wednesday's game, but supposedly Sabonis got injured Wednesday. He sprained his ankle, and the coach came out and said that he thinks it's going to be significant. So I think there's a good chance Sabonis could be out today. Again, we'll talk about that when we get to that game. But yeah, Phoenix and Dallas. Starting off on the Phoenix side, so kind of big news here with DeAndre Ayton once again ruled out for Phoenix. With Ayton out, we kind of know who benefits. It's going to be JaVale McGee. We'll talk about JaVale McGee in a second. Bismack Biyombo played really well last game as well. He could definitely be in play with Ayton out today. But starting off with the 2 guards at the top, Devin Booker and Chris Paul. On a 3-game slate, I think both these guys look pretty good. Devin Booker coming off a massive game against San Antonio where he went for 71 DraftKings points. 48 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, just a true, ceiling game from Devin Booker. Took 33 shots. Devin Booker has this kind of upside. We know he's a guy that when he gets hot, he'll take a lot of shots. He's a very high usage player. I think having Ayton off the floor is probably good for Booker. Ayton's a guy that definitely can take shots even as a center. He's kind of a high usage center. So I think Devin Booker is going to be, the number 1 on offense, 8,300. I think the price tag looks pretty good. It's a 3-game slate with not many options. I definitely like Devin Booker today. I haven't been on Devin Booker a ton this season, but I do like him quite a bit on this slate. I think he looks pretty good on Yahoo as well at $36 at the shooting guard position. Definitely one of my favorite shooting guards today. I think Chris Paul is solid as well. Now, if you're playing I think in any lineups you play today, I don't know if you'd want to play Booker and Paul together. Now, last game, both guys did do pretty well. Obviously, Booker went nuts. Chris Paul was pretty solid as well. Had 45 DK points in 32 minutes. If this game does wind up being really high scoring, the Suns put up 121 points last game. If they come out here and put up 120 points again, it's pretty likely that Paul and Booker both do really well. But I probably would limit just one of those 2 guys in one lineup. I don't think I'd play them both together just because normally, when Booker has a massive game, that probably means that Paul isn't doing as good, and then vice versa. But Chris Paul is 7,500, definitely in play. We know what we're going to get from Chris Paul. He's going to play 32 to 34 minutes if the game's close. He's going to get you points. He's going to get you a ton of assists. He can get you a double-double, points, assists, double-double. He can get you some rebounds too. I think the ceiling on Devin Booker is a little bit higher, but I think the floor on Chris Paul probably higher. We've seen Booker have somewhat of a low floor this year. Obviously, the ceiling, though, from Booker is really, really high, coming off a 70-point game. I'll be interested to see what ownership is between these 2 guys. If Devin Booker is going to be really, really popular because he's coming off a good game, then I think, pivoting to Chris Paul in tournaments obviously makes sense. both guys, firmly in play though on this short slate. Mikal Bridges at 4,800, probably not going to go there. I think the only argument that I could say with Mikal Bridges is that this is a matchup against Dallas. I think they're going to want Mikal Bridges out there guarding Luka. I think Mikal Bridges is probably going to play all the minutes that Luka does, so we might get like 36, 38 minutes from Mikal Bridges. Now, he's never really been a good producer. He's never been like a super high usage player. He doesn't really, he's not going to do much when he's on the court except, defense. That's what he's really out there for. He's a really good defender. He's been one of the better defenders in the league this year. He's done really well, though, against Dallas this season. He's averaged 36 minutes per game against them. So I think, the kind of the argument there with with him being out there to guard Luka, I think will be true. I think we will see Mikal Bridges play like 36, 37 minutes just because they're going to want his defense on Luka. So for that reason, I think at 4,800, he's at least viable. But still, I do question his upside a little bit. Cam Johnson came back last game, played 20 minutes off the bench. I don't think he's really in play at 4,600. With Cam Johnson back, that does hurt Jay Crowder a little bit, and I don't think Jay Crowder looks that great either. 4,400, if you need a value play, I guess he's viable, but not someone I have too much confidence in. Cameron Payne, going to play 18 to 20 minutes most nights. He's a pretty productive player when he does get minutes on a short slate like this. I think a $4,200 campaign is fine because if he does get 22 minutes, he can put up a good score at this salary. So I think if you do need a value play at guard, Cam Payne is viable. But I want to talk about the bigs. So with DeAndre Ayton out again, I'm expecting JaVale McGee to start at center. Now I will mention that JaVale McGee definitely got outproduced last game by Bismack Biyombo. So basically these two guys split the center minutes last game. JaVale started. He played 23 minutes. Bismack played the other 25 minutes. Bismack was really productive, had 39 DraftKings points in 25 minutes, whereas JaVale McGee, on the other hand, not as productive, only 18 DraftKings points in 23 minutes. I'm guessing they're going to start JaVale McGee again, but man, Bismack Biyombo has been playing really well off the bench, so I wouldn't be surprised if they go with Biyombo here. We're going to have to pay attention to the Suns starting lineup. I think whoever starts as center between McGee or Biyombo is going to be a pretty good value play. I think McGee right now is the value play that I prefer just because I expect him to start again. But Bismack's been playing really well, and if you want to go with Bismack over JaVale, I don't think it's that bad of an idea. Just because if you do get 24 minutes from both Biyombo and JaVale, they could both do pretty well. They're both pretty good point-per-minute players. We've seen Bismack be really productive when he gets minutes. We've seen JaVale show a lot of upside as well. I will say that JaVale has had some recent starts lately where he hasn't really been doing that good. But again, 4K, that's just really, really cheap for JaVale if we expect him to start again and play, mid-20s minutes. So I still think JaVale is a really strong value play if he starts. If they go with Biyombo as the starter, then I think Biyombo would be a really good value play. If you want to play Biyombo as a pivot off of JaVale, I don't think that's the worst idea either, especially if, JaVale gets in foul trouble or something. Bismack's going to be, the big beneficiary there. He'll be the guy that replaces JaVale, gets all those minutes. Then Jalen Smith, he didn't even play last game. It was really weird. He had been in the rotation consistently, and then last game he only played 2 minutes. So I don't think we can really go to Jalen Smith. I think at this point they're just going to use Biyombo and McGee as the two centers. So yeah, that's probably it for Phoenix. We can talk about Dallas now. Again, Dallas, they are on a back-to-back today, so we'll have to pay attention to the injury report here. We have seen Dallas, when guys or when it's a back-to-back, they sometimes will rest guys. We've seen Luka rest some this season on back-to-back. Same with Porzingis. I'm expecting everyone to play, but keep an eye on it. Luka at 10-4, I think, is a pretty solid pay-up option today if you can fit him. Luka had a really good game against Toronto on Wednesday night, played really well. 72 DraftKings points for Luka in 42 minutes. We know that Luka has that kind of upside. He can go out there and put up 70-plus fantasy points any night. He's got triple-double upside. This matchup is not great. Phoenix is a really good defensive team, but I think Luka looks pretty solid here. It looks like these teams have played twice this season. I was completely wrong. So these teams have played twice this season, and Luka did not play either game. I thought Mikal Bridges was out there, going to be out there guarding Luka, and these two teams, when they played, Luka wasn't even out there. So that was just a mistake on my part. I still think Mikal Bridges will play all the minutes that Luka does. I guess it is worth noting that these teams have played twice this year, and Luka did not play either game. Again, this is a tough matchup, though. I think he's going to see a lot of Mikal Bridges' defense. Mikal's been a great defender this year. It's a back-to-back. I still think Luka's a good pay-up option because if you look at the studs on this slate, you got Steph, who's been really inconsistent. You got Sabonis, who may or may not play. Julius Randle, we're going to talk about, I do like quite a bit. But there's not a lot of pay-up options on this short slate. So I think Luka is definitely one of the better spins if you're going to spend up for a stud. Porzingis is 7-6. I'm not that high on Porzingis. He got 33 minutes against Toronto on Wednesday. They've kind of been easing him back ever since he came back from protocols. He's been playing like, high 20s, low 30s on a back-to-back. How much do they play Porzingis? I really don't know. I think there's definitely a possibility that Porzingis gets rested today. So, like, I'm not that high on Porzingis at 7,600. The rest of the Mavs, I'm not that high on either. Brunson, THJ, DFS, like, none of these guys really stand out at their price points. I think it's just Luka for me. And that's it from Dallas. So we can move on to the next game, talk about the Pelicans and the Knicks. So looking at the Pelicans here, Brandon Ingram at 8K, I think is a very solid mid-range guard option. I think he's right there with Devin Booker, right there with Chris Paul. If you're looking for guards in that upper 7s, low 8s price range, Brandon Ingram's definitely going to stand out. Now I think Ingram's probably his floor and ceiling is a little bit lower than Devin Booker and Chris Paul, so I think I would prefer those two guys over Ingram. But Ingram's going to play 35, 36 minutes if this game is close. The Knicks defensively, not been as good as they were previous season, so I think the matchup's decent for Brandon Ingram. I don't think he's really going to struggle here. I think he's definitely in play at 8K. We'll mention that Devontae Graham is questionable right now for the Pelicans. If Devontae Graham gets ruled out, like we could see even more playmaking opportunities for Ingram. Maybe his assists go up with Ingram out, or with Graham out, excuse me. So yeah, Brandon Ingram at 8K I think is pretty solid. I think J-Val at 7,700 looks really good. He's right up there with, JaVale McGee, assuming JaVale starts in terms of, like, best center plays. I think JaVale's going to be a guy that we definitely look to for value at center, but if you want to pay up, J-Val at 7,700 looks really appealing. We know if this game's close, we're going to get 32, 33 minutes from J-Val. Again, the Knicks are not a team I worry about too much on the defensive end. J-Val crushed against the Knicks earlier this year, 51 DK points in 32 minutes. Obviously, Brandon Ingram did not play that game, worth noting. Ingram was out then, but still, I think it's a good spot for J-Val. I think it's 7,700. He looks like a very solid option, too. Then you have Josh Hart at 6'3". I think Josh Hart's kind of priced where he should be, but if this game's close, like Josh Hart's going to play high 30s minutes. He can contribute in all categories, does offer some upside. Again, I think his price tag's probably where it should be. I do prefer like Ingram and J-Val over Josh Hart, but Josh Hart's still fine. Devontae Graham, even if he plays, I'm not that high on, but I do want to mention Jose Alvarado. So Jose Alvarado is the minimum salary 3K. I'm guessing that if Devontae Graham is out today, that we will see Jose Alvarado start at point guard. Graham has missed some games this year, and in those games that he was out, they went with Tomas Satoransky as the starting point guard, but Satoransky really hasn't even been in rotation lately. Alvarado's kind of been the backup point guard, so I am guessing that he will start, and at 3K, he's been a pretty decent per-minute player this year when he's gotten opportunity. He hasn't played a ton of minutes, but he's been getting more run lately. I'd assume he would start. If he does, 3K. Jose Alvarado, if Devontae Graham gets ruled out, would definitely be on my radar as a value guard on the slate that we could go to. If by some chance they do go back to Satoransky, then yes, Satoransky would be playable too. But I'm guessing if Devontae Graham gets ruled out, we'd probably see Alvarado start. Maybe there's a chance they start NAW, but I think they want to keep NAW off the bench with the second unit. But yeah, by some chance, if NAW starts in place of Devontae Graham, he'd be a great value play. But we'll just have to wait and see what the Pelicans do with their starting lineup if Graham does get ruled out. But on the other side of this game with the Knicks, I think Julius Randle at 9,100 looks really good today. This price tag I like quite a bit. He finally had a big game last game against Minnesota. 39 minutes for Julius Randle, 56 Draftkings points. Almost had a triple-double, was 1 rebound and 1 assist shy of a triple-double. Like, I know Julius Randle's been a big disappointment this year. He's been very inconsistent. We've seen a lot of pretty disappointing games from him, but I think that big ceiling is still there. We know the minutes are going to be there. He's a guy that will play 38, 40 minutes if it's a close game. I like the matchup against the Pelicans. I think this is a spot where Julius Randle can definitely succeed. So I think at 9,100, Julius Randle does look like one of the better pay-up options today. Like him quite a bit on this slate. I think on Yahoo, he looks pretty solid over there as well. $37 at power forward, like Julius Randle on Yahoo. Forgot to mention JaVale McGee, $15 at center. Do like JaVale McGee on Yahoo as well. But yeah, definitely think Julius Randle, is probably one of the better pay-up options today. RJ Barrett was really disappointing last slate, but he's going to play a ton of minutes. If it's a close game, I think RJ Barrett plays close to 40 minutes. He's played at least 37 minutes in 4 straight games. Again, coming off a bad game, just didn't play that well, got into some foul trouble. I'd expect him to bounce back here. I think the matchup's a little bit better against the Pelicans, so RJ Barrett is viable, probably more of a tournament option, but firmly in play for me. Don't have any interest in Alec Burks now that Kemba Walker's back, but I do want to mention Kemba Walker. So Kemba Walker did make his return last game. He actually started and played 30 minutes. I was very surprised that he played as much as he did, and I was also surprised that they just started him right out of the gate. But they went with Kemba back in the starting lineup, and he looked really good. He played 30 minutes, had 29 DraftKings points. He kind of turned things on late in the fourth quarter. He got really hot late in the game. 6,100 for Kemba. Like, I still think he offers a lot of upside at this price point. We saw when Kemba was playing, when he was starting and getting big minutes, like he was putting up massive games. Now, do I expect Kemba to go out there and put up 50 fantasy points a night? No, I don't. But I think he does have 40, 45 point upside. He's a pretty high usage player. When he's on the court, he's going to take shots. He'll have the ball in his hands a good amount. At 6'1", I think Kemba Walker does look pretty appealing today as a mid-range guard option. So I definitely have my eye on him. On Yahoo, I think he looks pretty good there too. $18 on Yahoo. I like that price quite a bit for Kemba Walker. I think he's a pretty strong play once again today. Evan Fournier at 5,500. Like Evan Fournier, he had a good game last game, but man, this dude is just so frustrating to roster. Seems like whenever he puts up a big game, he just completely shits the bed the next day. So I'd be willing to bet that Fournier just has a bad game today. You look at his game log this year, though, and especially as of late, I mean, it's just been so up and down. Like he'll have just these massive games out of nowhere, and then all of his other games are just terrible. I mean, 10 or 6, 15, 15, 10, 5. I mean, the game log is just so bad for Evan Fournier. Look, he looked great last game. He shot the ball really well. I think if Fournier comes out and shoots the ball well, like he'll play big minutes, but he's just a really frustrating player to roster because if he's not hitting shots, they'll play some of these other guys. They have plenty of bodies they can go to. They can play Alec Burks. They can play Emmanuel quickly. They don't have to give Fournier 36, 38 minutes. I think they will if he's shooting the ball well and if he's playing well. But man, if he's struggling, he'll play like 22, 25 minutes and he'll really disappoint. So he's a pretty risky option. I think the upside is there if he can make his shots, but again, not a guy I have a ton of confidence in. Mitchell Robinson got into some massive foul trouble last game, only played 20 minutes, fouled out in 20 minutes. Going up against J-Val, like this is definitely a spot where Mitchell Robinson could really struggle, could get into some foul trouble. Probably not going to go there on this slate. And I think that's probably it for the Knicks. So we can go ahead and talk about the last game of the night, the late night hammer, the Pacers and the Warriors. So the Pacers today, I mean, this is going to be the team to watch in terms of injuries. So it's a back-to-back for the Pacers. They played against the Lakers on Wednesday night. That game was a pretty close game. They actually won by like 6 or 7 points. You got big minutes from Sabonis. Did want to mention, that the report earlier was that Sabonis did suffer an ankle sprain in that game against the Lakers, and he ultimately played through it. I think he wanted to play through it because the game was close. He didn't want to come out of the game. But supposedly the ankle sprain that he suffered Wednesday is going to be serious. So I think there's a pretty good chance that Sabonis does not play today. If he does play, I mean, at 10K, he's going to be a good option because Sabonis has been really good with Miles Turner off the floor. He looked really good in that game against the Lakers. He had a triple-double, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Yeah, finished with 20, 12, and 10, over 50 fantasy points from Sabonis. Only issue is that, this is a game that does have a lot of blowout risk. Right now, the Warriors are favored by almost 11 points. They're at home. I think if the game stays close, though, Sabonis does offer a lot of upside. Again, though, I think there's a pretty good chance he doesn't even play today. If he doesn't play, I mean, I'm guessing they're going to start Goga Batadze at center, so no Miles Turner right now as well. Goga barely played on Wednesday against the Lakers, but he's basically their last center available. Like, they don't really have any other bigs. I guess they could go small and play like O'Shea Brissett at the 5, and they might do that for some minutes, but I'm assuming that if Sabonis indeed does not play today, we're probably going to see Goga start at center. Goga he's a great point per minute player. He has shown that when he gets minutes, he can produce at a really good rate. 25 minutes in that game against the Clippers, had 34 DraftKings points, 16 minutes, 14 DK points, 22 minutes, 22 DK points. I mean, he's a fantasy point per minute player. If he were to start, I think he'd project for, mid to high 20s minutes. I think he would probably play in a blowout as well. So I'd feel pretty good about Goga. Like, even if the game gets ugly, I think Goga would still be out there. So 3,700, like, if Sabonis does indeed sit today, Goga's going to be a very, very good value play. For sure going to be the best value on the slate. Obviously, if Sabonis sits, there'd be more usage available for LeVert. LeVert got into some massive foul trouble Wednesday, didn't play many minutes. I'm assuming LeVert's going to play here on the back-to-back. He should have a ton of opportunity. Only issue is that if this game gets ugly, obviously LeVert's going to hit the bench really quick. He's not going to play a ton of minutes, but man, if the game stays close, especially if Sabonis sits, like LeVert has so much upside here. He's just going to get so much usage, so definitely like LeVert today. Brogdon, I think there's a pretty good chance like Brogdon doesn't play today. It's a back-to-back. He's coming back from an Achilles injury. He played, how many minutes did he play Wednesday? I think he played a lot. Or only 26 minutes for Brogdon Wednesday, so maybe he does play today. But yeah, he's coming back from an Achilles injury. I don't think, even if Brogdon plays today, I don't think I'd have much interest in him. But if he were to sit too, like that would just make LeVert look even better. If Sabonis and Brogdon both sit, like Chris Duarte would look really good, Lance Stevenson would look really good. It's tough to break down this Pacers team right now just because I think we are going to see someone ruled out here. It's probably going to be Sabonis, given that the word about his ankle and he sprained his ankle. It's going to be significant. Like that probably means Sabonis isn't playing today. We'll have to pay attention to this. If everyone does wind up playing, I don't see too much that stands out from the Pacers outside of the main guys. Sabonis and LeVert. Sabonis would probably be my favorite play here, but yeah, it's a spot where we're just going to have to pay attention to the injury report. Hopefully, we'll have an update on Indiana by the time I stream. I will be streaming an hour before lock on my YouTube channel, and we can talk about some of the injury news that we get during the day if we do get any update on the Pacers. Hopefully, we'll have some update. We can talk more about them later in the stream on Thursday night. But let's go ahead and talk about the Warriors real quick before we do end the video. So, looking at Golden State today, still no Draymond Green for Golden State, and they're going to be without Otto Porter as well. So that's definitely going to open up some minutes, in the front court. Jonathan Kuminga started last game, played a decent amount, got into some massive foul trouble, but still played 25 minutes. I think we'll go ahead and start off with Kuminga. I think without Draymond, Kuminga's still going to continue to get a lot of minutes, and especially now that Otto Porter is out as well. I'd assume we get like 30 minutes, if not more, from Kuminga. Again, he got into some massive foul trouble last game. Would have played way more had he not been in foul trouble. Kuminga's a young guy. He's someone they want to develop. So Kuminga is a very, very safe option here, even if the game gets ugly. We saw him play in the blowout last game against Detroit. I think if this game blows out, which is a good possibility, Kuminga will still be out there in a blowout. At 4,300, he looks like one of the better value plays on today's slate, at least right now. We'll have to wait and see what other value we get if we get some guys ruled out from the Pacers. But for now, I really like Kuminga for value. I really like JaVale McGee for value. Kuminga's really cheap on Yahoo as well, $12 over there. Like him quite a bit on both sides. Again, expecting him to start once again for Draymond. Expect the minutes to be there, especially with Otto Porter out again, or out as well, I should say. Otto Porter last game, I think, played a decent amount. Yeah, 22 minutes. So you're just going to kind of spread those minutes out. You'll probably see more playing time for Otto Porter, more playing time for Bjelica maybe, more playing time for Iguodala, Damian Lee. But Kuminga's the big beneficiary here, the guy that should soak up a lot of playing time and should play in a blowout as well. But now Steph Curry we have at 10-5. Curry's just been so up and down this year. He's been so inconsistent. You look at his game log. There's plenty of just like 32, 43, 31, 28, 41. Like these are not good scores at his salary. You're looking for 55, 60 plus. Obviously, Steph can go out there and put up 60 any night. This is a game, though, where I do worry about blowout. I don't know if Steph is going to play the full 4 quarters. I would prefer Luka over Steph today. I'd prefer Julius Randle over Steph. I think Steph's just kind of a contrarian pay-up option for me. Not a guy I have a ton of interest in. Andrew Wiggins is 6'6". Like, I think he's priced where he should be. I think Jordan Poole's priced where he should be, if not a little bit overpriced. I do want to mention Klay Thompson, just because Klay Thompson has been producing really well this year. The minutes are still not that great. 22 minutes last game. He's probably only going to play low to mid-20s minutes, but had 35 Draftkings points last game. Continues to take a lot of shots when he's on the court. Like when Klay Thompson's on the court, he's going to take shots. He's going to produce. He's going to average around a fantasy point per minute. At 5,300, I think Klay Thompson is still in play. I really haven't been on Klay just because I feel like his price has been too high. But on this slate, 3-gamer, I think Klay at 5,300 is actually pretty solid. Even if we only get 23, 24 minutes from him, he could put up 30 Draftkings points easily in 24 minutes, which is pretty solid at his price point. So definitely think Klay Thompson's in play. Kevon Looney, on the other hand, not as interested in, just doesn't offer a ton of upside, doesn't really ever play a lot of minutes. 4,500, just think there's probably better value on the slate. And that's probably it for the Warriors. If you want to go to some of these bench guys and hope for a blowout, like a Bjelica or a Damian Lee, you could always do that on a 3-game slate. But I think we kind of talked about all the guys I like from the Warriors today. So that's it. That's it for this 3-game Thursday night slate. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Again, I appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, please do hit the like button down below, guys. Hit the subscribe button as well. Go check out the sponsor of the video, PrizePicks. Go sign up for PrizePicks. Use code NOAH if you do. PrizePicks will match your first deposit. They will give you a free bet up to $100 when you do sign up with my code. You can take a look at what PrizePicks has to offer. You can make some picks for tonight's games. Take a look at their all their other sports they offer: NFL, college basketball, PGA, NHL. They basically offer every sport imaginable. You can mix and match sports on PrizePicks, win up to 10 extra money. If you have not signed up over there, sign up. Use code NOAH so you get a deposit bonus when you do sign up. And if you guys want some of my favorite picks on PrizePicks each day, along with the entries that I am playing myself, I give those all out on Patreon. You can check that out. It's linked down below in the description. All my PrizePicks plays, along with all of my updated DFS content, is provided on Patreon. But yeah, best of luck tonight, guys. Appreciate you watching the video. Hope you did enjoy, and we will see you in the next one.